Well, experts say Olympian Oscar Pistorius was not mentally impaired and knew right from wrong when he killed his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp last year. The trial resumed today in South Africa after a month of psychiatric exams. Let's listen to some more of what was said in court today.
I called in the next witness. It's Dr. Versveld.
Milady, he was a small baby when I first saw him. I saw him and advised his parents on how to treat him and eventually treated him for his condition.
And is he still a patient of yours?
Yes, milady.
Now, and the most amazing part of this is walking to the bathroom on an accused version, firing the shots, running back from the bathroom. On his version, it was done in the dark. So it's possible for the accused to do all that in the dark.
If he was totally in the dark, he would have had to be holding on to things, otherwise he would have fallen down.
You see, Doctor, that answer of yours assists the state. His version is, it was pitch dark.
Then called the next witness, my lady. It's Ivan Lynn. In your profession as pro acoustics, what is it that you do relevant to acoustics and to sound?
We study and research the phenomenon of acoustics and how humans perceive sound. If the sound emanated from the bathroom, if the listeners were on the balcony, a scream emanating from the bathroom, its source, the sound is in the range of audible and intelligible. If the listeners were in the bedroom, a scream emanating from the bathroom, its source, the sound is in the range of audible and intelligible.
All right, so the trial is back on track. And for a closer look at what all of this means, let's go to Robin Curnow live from Pretoria. Robin, great to see you. So let's first talk about this panel's findings that Oscar Pistorius was not mentally incapacitated when he shot and killed his girlfriend.
Well, I think it is important. What we know is that the state now has managed perhaps to close the gap for Oscar Pistorius' team to argue that due to mental illness, he wasn't criminally responsible. So what we do know now, or at least the court now knows, that he can, and particularly on that night, could tell the difference between right and wrong and act in accordance with that knowledge. So that is why this is crucial, because it closes the gap for Oscar Pistorius, perhaps in appeal, to argue along that line. So in a way, they downgraded some of the evidence of Pistorius' own psychiatrist, particularly that he had a general anxiety disorder. But our legal analyst, Kelly Phelps, says that it's very important to note that despite that, her testimony that he was vulnerable, fearful, had a different sense of vulnerability because of his amputations and because of his life story is still very much on the court record and very, very relevant. Also, what's important out of today's panel assessment, we heard from Kerry now that they assessed, or at least one of them assessed, that he suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome, particularly after the shooting. And of course, those of you who've watched this trial will remember that he'd had a lot of crying, there was vomiting. And the fact that he might have or has been diagnosed with PTSD will at least give some authenticity, some credibility to the way he reacted, particularly when he was on the stand.
And in the meantime, the defense did call more witnesses to the stand, including Pistorius' orthopedic surgeon. And he talked about his ability, Oscar Pistorius' ability to balance on his stumps in the dark. What more can you tell us about that?
And again, this is also very, very important evidence. It was a very rich day, jam-packed with all sorts of very important information. Now, this surgeon was the man who amputated Pistorius' legs when he was just a baby. And he used x-rays, but not only that, he also got the judge to come down to the court and he got Pistorius to take off his prosthetics. And he actually showed the judge in court Pistorius' stumps and how his heel, the heel skin, the underbelly of his stump was often could slip, and therefore it was painful and difficult for Pistorius to walk or to run. And all of this, of course, painting the picture of Pistorius, and I'm quoting here, being severely impaired or unable to flee or to ward off danger if he didn't carry a weapon. So all of this pointing particularly to the culpable homicide issue, the culpable homicide charge, because that's about how a reasonable man would act under the circumstances. And what all of this showing just how Pistorius' mobility is affected points to the fact that he can't be held accountable or use the same credibility or the same criteria against a reasonable man. And of course, that all boils down to that culpable homicide charge.